AskReddit by Practice Girls. Florida state is attempting to make child rape punishable by death. Do you think child rape warrants a death penalty? Why or why not? I don't believe in the death penalty. Innocent people are convicted often. You can release someone from prison. You can't unkill someone. The goal of this law is to get the Supreme Court to allow the death penalty for more crimes that aren't homicides. How far down the criminal severity ladder are we comfortable going with the death penalty? Littering. No, the death penalty has been proven to be more expensive than life imprisonment and also does nothing to deter crime. In addition, this puts the child in an awful situation, where they know if they come forward that person, who could very well be a family member, will be killed. The guilt of that may make it less likely that children come forward. Also, if the rapist knows that they could face the death penalty, they could be more likely to kill their victim. Why leave the witness if the punishment is the same? No, it's never a good idea to give the government permission to kill its citizens. Especially considering how many people have been falsely convicted of crimes. Since 1973, 185 people have been exonerated from death row. The problem with the death penalty isn't what crime is or isn't deserving of it. It's that you can get the wrong people. The government having this unilateral control to execute people is not good. This is a bad and loaded question. The satanic panic included fake memories that would have put people to death in these laws. I do not believe in the death penalty for anyone. I also wouldn't be particularly upset if a child rapist died. Most importantly, in today's world, I do not trust the politicians of Florida to accurately determine who is and isn't a child rapist. Florida does not have a great track record. The state leads with the most exonerations from death. Supporting the death penalty requires me to believe the justice system doesn't prosecute innocent people. That's, of course, not the case, so I cannot support the death penalty. I do not believe in the death penalty, and I can also notice that this is not an instance where they are advocating for victims, because anyone who has been a victim knows that perpetrators use our fears to keep us under control. Imagine how much farther they'll push our fears now that their lives are in danger. That's not what they're doing. They happen to have classified drag shows in front of children the exact same as rape with regards of punishment, which just so happens to be getting changed to a death penalty charge, which will also not require an unanimous decision anymore. Isn't they're doing this to punish other people, not to save the kids, and not to punish child rapist. Yeah, surprised no one else has mentioned this. Basically, if you rule publicly presenting as gay, or just drag as a sex crime against children, then making sex crimes against children punishable by death, then it's essentially getting the ball rolling for a legal basis for genocide. I mean, how long until the Democrats' our groomers rhetoric turns into actual law, stating being a Democrat is a sex crime against children? Speaking as a survivor of child sexual abuse, revenge isn't justice. People are really showing their bloodlust in this thread. A person deriving satisfaction from the torture and killing of other people seems to me to be a predatory behavior on par with any other lust for violence. Yeah, exactly. Our goal shouldn't be revenge. It should be preventing CSA as much as possible. Once you start losing focus of that, you're already becoming unhelpful to the people these laws are supposed to protect. While Florida is trying to redefine gender-affirming care as some increasingly hysterical form of harm against children, and while Florida is trying to remove the requirement of a unanimous vote for the death penalty, I'ma say no. Not necessarily because I do or don't, but because I do not trust the people driving that ship one whit. They're going to pass that shit, and in due time the next person who hands a kid a breast binder will be headed to the gallows. No, it incentivizes killing the child. No, most victims don't come forward, and if the crime was punishable by death, even fewer would. What would this mean? A 18-year-old raping a 17-year-old would be sentenced to death, but she would be forced to have the baby, because if she would abort, it's murder? Am I getting it right? And the point of the death penalty, state-sanctioned murder of the 18-year-old, would be justified by the fact that they caused significant psychological harm to the 17-year-old, who is apparently going to be perfectly psychologically prepared for an unplanned pregnancy caused by said trauma and be prepared to raise a child without causing significant early psychological harm to them. Gee, it's a great thing kids can get slaughterhouse jobs these days so they can raise their family in a shared studio apartment for $1,200 mo in bumfuck nowhere. This country is in shambles. It should be pointed out that it is not just child rape but child sex abuse and pedophilia. Florida is also attempting to ban drag shows and criminalize drag in public and ban children from attending drag shows. So if a child is exposed to someone in drag, it would be classified as a child sex crime. So in that context, you could see how this could be used to criminalize drag and trans expression into a sex crime against children. I have a feeling this is less about protecting kids and more about penalizing LGBTQ folks. No, Florida made sexual crimes against minors punishable by death, and recently made wearing drag in public a sexual crime against minors. They want to kill trans people just for existing and are trying to make it look otherwise. This is what I was looking for, and exactly why I'd be against this. Also, I'm against the death penalty in general, for a variety of reasons. There shouldn't be a death penalty at all. We already execute murderers. Now, they want to execute rapists. Tomorrow, they'll want to execute abusers. Then thieves. Then, who knows? They are passing a law in Florida to allow for the death penalty if 8/12 jurors agree. That's insane. If you're going to sentence someone to death, everyone better be 100% about it. Why is FL so bloodthirsty? Should child rapists be hit with the harshest penalties possible? Yes. Death penalty? Debate to be had there. However, given how Florida seems to be continuously expanding the definition of things like child rape and grooming, absolutely not. Because it won't be used against actual Floridian child rapists like Matt Gaetz, it'll be used against the LGBTQ and parents of trans kids.